This is me filming you.
Filming us, filming you.
We're filming you.
Yeah.
It's film section.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Yorkshire Car Restoration YouTube channel. Now today we've got a very special car, and we've also got a very special person here today as well. This is John, and John's actually recording for Bangers and Cash Restoring Classics. Now this is an Opel Manta, it's a 1975 Manta S. It's got a 1.6 litre engine, and this is going to be torn apart hopefully today to see what rust we need to tackle, and hopefully get the doors off, the wings off and everything to a bare shell.
Before we jump into today's video, I want to quickly talk about the sponsor of this video, the Redtiger F17 Elite. The first dash cam to give you full colour in-cabin footage. And we're going to install it in Ryan's GTR. And once you plug your cables in and your cigarette lighter, that's it. Now, as I say, this camera gives you full colour in-cabin footage, not your usual black and white IR look. I mean actual colour in your cabin at night while driving under nothing but street lamps. Now this setup includes 3 cameras, the front camera, the rear camera and the in-cabin camera, and they all run in true high-res. The front camera runs in 4K and the other 2 cameras use the Starvis 2 sensors, so crystal clear quality. And these sensors are currently some of the strongest performers for low light driving. With HDR balancing, it handles bright headlights and dark alleyways at the same time, without washing out the image. I also tested the plate clarity, and you can see registration plates up to 5 meters away, and that is vital if you're in an accident. One feature I found really useful was the Wi-Fi 6, up to 30 megabytes per second transfer speeds, so grab your files instantly. There's also a parking mode called Night Guard. This is only available when you use a hardwire kit. It records time-lapse footage with true-to-life colour, even in extremely low lighting conditions. So if anything happens overnight, you'll actually be able to see what's going on, not just vague silhouettes. The touchscreen lets you switch through all 3 modes instantaneously, and it's very easy on the screen, so no messing about. So if you've been considering upgrading your dashcam, whether for safety or just want rock solid proof of what happens on the road, the Redtiger F17 Elite is easily one of the best solutions I've tested. You can find it in the link in our description, and don't forget to use our discount code for a fantastic bargain. And that said, let's crack on with the video. Now this wasn't the easiest rebuild to do, but it was a refreshing change being filmed instead of just filming ourselves once. And for us, an insight of how TV does it so much different to us YouTubers. And for me, that's
Right, first things first is the exhaust, because this is the lowest thing on the car. So we've got 6 bolts up here, which we need to try and loosen because sometimes they do snap. So hopefully they'll be nice to us. We'll get some penetrating fluid on them as well, and we'll get this full thing off because that's the, like I say, the lowest thing on the car, and then we can work on the front and the rear subframes.
Now we expected this exhaust to come off just a little bit easier than it did. The downpipe bolts were rusted and the back box was seized, but a little bit of bashing and off it came.
Right, so I'm exhausted after taking it off. That's the exhaust off, which was an absolute pain. So that's down there. Now we're going to work on this rear cradle. So we've probably got a bolt on the top of the strut towers. We've got one on this rear trailing arm. We've got one on the anti-roll bar. And then I think that's about it, because this is a live diff.
Yeah. They are really simple, these ones. There's nothing to them.
So
we've probably got this prop shaft carrier.
Yeah, prop shaft carrier as well, unless we unbolt it from there. But yeah, so that's next. Cool.
Now the rear cradle came off quite easy because it looked like the underbody had been wax oiled in the past, so it had been looked after. And that was a blessing in disguise because we've got so much more to take off.
Right, after having a donut that John actually brought, because he brings donuts every time, so yeah, might be getting fat. But after having a nice donut, we've managed to get all of the bolts that we think off of that rear subframe. So we're gonna raise the car up and hopefully the subframe stays on the jacks. So we've got the exhaust off, we've got the handbrake cables off, which one of them was seized, one of them wasn't. But anyway, the rear should stay there. We should be able to raise the car up, bada bing, bada boom. Then we can move on to this front. Right, so we've undone just about everything on the back. So we should be able to raise the car up and actually leave the subframe on the back. Now we're going to put the wheels back on, so obviously we can maneuver the subframe a lot easier. And also it hangs that diff instead of scraping the diff on the floor. We do have two jacks underneath there. So the jacks will stop it from going on the floor anyway, but we will get the two wheels back on and then we can raise the car off the diff and off the rear subframe and continue on with the front.
This all went to plan and just lifted straight off the suspension. Unlike the front, but that's yet to come. Now we were sent an absolute boatload of parts with the car as well, but majority of them we never even used, so went back with the car when it was completed. So I cracked on to see what we've got, organise them, put them away, while the others got on with the car. Then it was back on with stripping the underbody.
Right, that's the rear cradle down. Now we're going to start working on this engine. So we've unbolted things from underneath while the car was in the air, like the gear linkage, the accelerator cable, etc. So all that's done. We've loosened all the bolts underneath there as well. So now we're just doing everything on the top of the engine, like getting everything, you know, all the wires, all the connections, everything, because we're going to drop the engine with the front cradle and the gearbox as well. So fingers crossed we can actually drop it all in a one.
Easier said than done, because there's a lot to disconnect that you don't even realise needs disconnecting until you start separating the car from the engine. But after a few attempts, it was out.
Well, there we have it. For the first time, definitely wasn't the fourth time, it was the first time that we actually got this out. We definitely didn't leave things on the engine, definitely not. However, we've managed to get it out. The front cradle, all the assembly on the front, the engine and the gearbox all came down in a oneer, so now it's easy to work on it, and we can get to see all of the rust and the bad repairs that are on the chassis rail. And John's just shaking his head because of...
Rust. No.
Yeah, there's definitely no rust, is there, John? No. John says there's no rust. No rust. And this John also says there's no rust.
No, there's no rust.
Yeah, sound. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, my thoughts are who's going to put it all back together again? Oh, sorry, did we not mention that? Oh, no. Oh, right, yeah. I mean, I could have taken it to bits, you should have said. It seems quite brutal, doesn't it? But, like Steve said to me earlier, you've got to go backwards to go forwards.
Yeah.
So we've gone quite a bit way backwards.
Got to get worse before it gets better.
When does it start getting better then, Steve?
Not for a long time.
Right.
No.
Well, it's nearly 2:30 now. So what? Should we say 4 o'clock? Right. Okay. I'll give you the benefit of another hour.
Right. So this is going to be aired on Bangers and Cash Restoring Classics, and the guy behind the camera, which is John, is going to tell us a little bit about that.
Who's now in front of the camera?
He's now in front of the camera. This is his camera. He's now behind this camera, but in front of that camera.
So the Bangers and Cash, for anyone who hasn't seen Bangers and Cash Restoring Classics, it came out of the Bangers and Cash series, which follows the Matthewson's car auction at Thorntondale, and we look at the cars as they go through the auction, who's had them, what they fetch at the auction, and the new owner. And I've often said it's a programme just about people with cars. It's not just about cars. In and amongst following all that, as a classic car owner myself, and Andy Joynson, who runs Air TV, who make the programme, we said there's a cost to all this. There's a cost to keeping all these cars on the road. But what is that cost? And there are programmes and the things on YouTube, all over about restoring cars. The one thing that a lot of that misses out is the labour cost. So what we decided to do was look at it in a way that it would come across as real, and it is real as a classic car owner. So what we decided to do, we, as a production company, as a team that make the programme, would buy a car at Matthewson's, and we would genuinely bid on a car. There's nothing set up. We genuinely bid on a car. We genuinely pay.
We can't stress this enough. None of this is set up.
It is not set up.
All this is totally genuine.
Absolutely.
Price is everything.
So anybody can bid on a car, and we bid on a car, and we film that. And then we bring the car to people like yourselves who assess it, look over it and say, this is good, that's bad, where do you want to be, where do you want to go? And then we set you guys off on doing it, and then we see what that costs for real. We get the bill, you send us a very small bill, it's only a tiny little bill.
Tiny bill.
And then we sell that car back through the auction, and we see where we're at. Because there's a massive misconception, isn't there, that if I buy a car for £5,000 and I spend say £5,000 doing it up, it's suddenly worth 10 grand. That's doesn't work like that.
No,
there are certain cars that might keep the value, but we look at the true cost of doing all this
in real time.
Absolutely.
Proper money.
And then we film the work that goes on, and we genuinely film the work. We don't stunt anything up. We don't do second takes. It's all as it happens, and we genuinely go on that journey. And sometimes that journey's great, and sometimes it's an absolute nightmare.
I mean, this one looks great, but you air this program, basically, is it a 45-minute single episode?
So we do an hour. It's an hour. It's a television hour, but within that there's all the adverts and everything. But yes, so this will feature possibly later in the year, maybe in the next year. Depends how quickly you guys get this done. And then this will go out on the television, and we'll see obviously how much we bought it for and how much we've spent on it by your very small bill.
You never know, you might get it for a fraction of the price that they actually purchased it for.
Well, thanks for that, Steve. And with that, it's back to you in the studio, as they say.
Right, the next job is this petrol tank. So we've got a couple of lines to drain, to take off of the petrol tank. We also don't know how much petrol is actually in it. I can't remember. Do you know? Can you remember? No.
15 quid's worth.
So there could be 15 quid's worth of fuel in here. But there's 2 bolts here to take the strap off, and we need to just take all the lines off. The fuel filler as well. And then this should drop down, hopefully, fingers crossed, without any issues. Just like the engine, and it definitely wasn't the 4th take.
The petrol tank was a bit tricky to remove, as it did have some pipes on the side that was inaccessible until we actually lowered the tank itself.
That is the petrol tank out. Unfortunately, it only had a little bit of petrol in it, which is still in there, which is good because it made it so it wasn't ridiculously heavy. Now we can see the whole underside of the car, and we can see all the rust basically. There's not a massive amount of rust compared to what we used to, but there still is rust. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the doors, the boot, the bonnet, all the exterior panels off of the car, hopefully get these wings off as well, because I think these are actually bonded on with some aftermarket sealant. So we'll see how easy that is to get off. We'll take all that off, and then we can properly see inside these arches, and yeah, start the rust repairs.
Then it was on with removing the bonnet and the boot so we could get to all those fiddly bits inside the engine bay. Interrupted by the occasional update interviews. Now surprisingly, the chrome trim came off relatively easy, so they could all be used when rebuilding the car.
Right, it is the next day here, and John, the Bangers and Cash Restoring Classics cameraman, has actually left yesterday. We had a really good day of filming yesterday, we got a lot done, but that's all they need for now. So they've left us to continue stripping the car. So I'm going to get this rear bumper off, the lights, the front bumper off, and the front lights as well. We need to get the wings off that I think are bonded on as well. So we can get all of that off, and then we can start stripping this underseal.
Now, even though that was all the major items taken off the car, there still was a million things yet to remove, which always seems to take an absolute age. Now again, this car has been looked after in the past, so everything came out fairly easily, with just a few nuts and bolts being a little bit stubborn, so needed a little bit of gentle persuasion. Now, one thing that surprised us was the amount of hidden nuts and bolts that held the wings on. Now, usually when you've taken the bolts off the top of the wings, it's a few bolts inside the wheel arch and inside the door shuts, and you're done. But not the Opel Manta. So it was a case of wobbling the wing and seeing where it's still attached. In this instant, it needed most of the front disassembling just to get at those bolts. But once Ryan found the hidden bolts in the front nose cone, job was a good one. Luckily, underneath the wheel arches were in pretty good shape and just needed some localised repair. And the hardest thing of every restoration, labelling everything you remove. Now, labelling everything is laborious and time consuming, and a lot of people skip it, but it is a necessary step, so it makes reassembling the car nice and easy. Now, removing all this cowl and all the insulation to go with it looks easy, but it was an absolute pig. But had to be done carefully, so nothing was broken. The brake booster also wasn't the easiest to remove, as it was not only bolted in, but also bonded in. We also had to pull the wiring harness back through the bulkhead so that we could paint the engine bay. After everything was out of the engine bay, it then gave us good scope as to what needs doing in there. And to be honest, there wasn't a lot of rust, there was just a lot of cleanup. Now, after disassembling the car in the first video, the next thing to do was clean all the underbody as well as the inner wings. Now, as you can probably imagine, with this much surface area, it seemed to take forever. But with plenty of persistence and all the lads on it at one point, it was eventually rattled off. Now, although this is very laborious and a job nobody wants to do, it has to be done so that we can reveal any hidden rust that may be lurking underneath there.
Well, that was a dirty job, but it's done now, so that's good. Now, obviously, once we take unseal off, we tend to expose loads more rust and etc. But it's not actually that bad, to be fair. So there is the front chassis rail and jacking point to do, as well as this here, and then a little bit on the front section as well. But on the whole, there's not actually that many holes in the car. We've sprayed some Dinatrol RC900, which is a rust inhibitor, rust converter, and this sort of purpley black stuff that you can see here is actually the epoxy coating that RC900 actually leaves on the car. So now it's nicely protected, so it's not going to flash rust or anything. So then that gives us a good sort of like surface to then put some epoxy primer on. So now we're going to get onto that rear axle. We're going to start disassembling that because we need to get all the parts ready for the powder coaters, and then after that we can go onto the front, which is over there behind the loaded parts. We can go onto the front axle and then start stripping that, get all the parts off so we can send them to the powder coaters. Yeah, man.
But before that, a word about our sponsors. Now, we were wanting to add some strength to our lightweight doors for the SEMA built Datsun 260Z, and thanks to Xtool we had the Metalfab, perfect for the job. Actively thinking, as you always should when you're doing a build, the whole point of making this light door is because when this pivots up like that, and this is being held here, and there's weight there, all the stress is here and here. So we needed to add some strength to these doors. Now, drawing the plates up in Metalfab was an absolute breeze and literally takes seconds. And you don't have to second guess the measurements because you can input them directly and exactly the size you need. The nicest thing about the Metalfab is there are no dramas. You just input the settings, click the go, and it does exactly what it's supposed to. Two minutes later, we have 2 bars, perfect size. Now, we needed to weld these bars on, but we didn't want to add the weight and the bulk of MIG welding. So, the laser welding was absolutely perfect for this. Now, these welds were continuous and so easy as you don't need to control the speed, the wire pushes you along. And the bead is so small and strong that we're not adding weight or bulk to the frame. Now, in all my years of welding, that is a very neat and impressive continuous weld No warp, no warping, no real big heat going through there. And the weld is absolutely magnificent. Apart from a little bit, I got a little bit messy in the corner here, but that's because I'm kind of trying to go around an angle, but that is incredible. Right, so the Xtool Metalfab has proved its worth again. The welding on this bench was absolutely superb. Did some lovely runs. The only time it did let it down a little bit is when I left a little bit of a gap, which is kind of hard to weld and fill a gap with this. I'm going to try with some thicker wire, see if that does help. But the welds are tiny and really, really strong. The CNC side of it is absolutely fantastic. You saw it just buzz those pieces out straight away. Nice crisp edges on them. So a tool that's going to be used often in our workshop. But that said, let's get back to the build. Now the drivetrain looked in terrible shape, but it was actually better than it looked. So first things first, we had to strip it down before we could clean it up. And that proved to be easier than we was expecting.
For a car that's from 1975, I am extremely surprised how easy those bolts actually came out. There was literally, it was dead easy. I probably could jinx myself for the front axle now, but hey ho. So that is the rear just about disassembled. Obviously we've still got the tyres, we've still got all the brakes in there, the brake shoes and the things like that, but we're going to now move on to the front axle and get everything stripped off, so we've got a nice collection for powder coating.
Now the bottom of the car was stripped, what you didn't see us do was completely cover the bottom of the car in Dinitrol RC900 rust neutralizer.
Right, so the first job on this is actually taking the engine and the gearbox off. Now we've got two engine mountings here, so we've got two bolts on either side. Unfortunately, our engine hoist seems to be broken, so we're going to have to get the big guns out. Right there.
Now this thing can actually lift 10 tons. That's probably 7 fairly light cars. But at the moment, one of the hoists is stuck down because we need a new limit switch for it. Now for us, the easiest way of balancing this engine when we lift it up is with a couple of straps. And who needs engine stands? Just chuck it on a tyre. This front cradle was a bit more of a challenge to take apart, as the bushings just didn't want to let go. But with the help of a nice heavy Yorkshire spanner, it eventually gave way. Now if you're not familiar with cars, make sure you take lots of pictures so you know where everything goes when you reassemble. And now it's all disassembled, it's shipped off to the powder coaters while we crack on with the rest of the car.
Again, links in the description to Riverside Coatings. Do give them a follow and a like on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. So big thanks to James. So now that brings us back to the car. So we need to get some rust repairs done first because I think the filming guys are coming back on Thursday and it's now Tuesday. So we need to do some rust repairs on this, you know, little odds and ends on the back. We're leaving some of the main stuff for the filming. So obviously, you know, that can be on TV. Yeah, so we've got a lot of work to do because we also need to build the running gear back up and get the engine on the front running gear ready for the running gear to get back on the car.
Now there wasn't a massive amount of rust on this car, but the little bits that there were all in fiddly places or on structural sections, and that always tends to make progress slow. And on structural parts, this usually means the interior needs stripping.
Right. My uncles have been smashing out various parts on the car, not smashing them, but fixing them. So my Uncle Richard has done the 2 back parts, my Uncle John has done these 2 front parts, bada bing, bada boom. The main thing that we need to do now is this chassis rail. So all of this chassis rail needs basically replacing. And we do have replacement parts of the chassis rail. I'm not sure if you've seen these, but these are what the guys from Air TV actually brought, and they bought these with the car, so there was an awful lot of parts with the car. Anyway, with that aside, we need to unstitch all of this chassis rail. We've moved this point here onto the actual jacking point instead of being half on the chassis rail and half on the jacking point. So we can take all of this out, we can see any rust that's underneath there, and then we can obviously offer these 2 panels up. I do think that we need to extend this as well, probably 50-60 mil, just to obviously cover this patch. And then we can get these welded on. But we're not going to weld them on yet because it needs to be on TV. So we're going to take all of this out, prep these, and then when TV come on Thursday, we can then bash these in, bada bing, bada boom. We need to take reference of this point here. This is quite important because this is where the cradle actually mounts as well. And yeah, so we've got a lot of drilling, a lot of hammering, and we'll take all this chassis rail out. And yeah, let's just, what are you standing there for? Come on, come on, get it done.
Now with this chassis rail, all measurements had to be taken so that we made sure we got the mounting points back in the right place. And removing it isn't hard, just time consuming. Now when removing chassis, you nearly always find hidden rust as they are water traps. And the manufacturers either don't protect them enough on the inside or don't make enough drain holes for the water to get out. And now it's time for the messy task of cleaning up all the parts that haven't gone to the powder coaters. And again a nice layer of Dinatrol RC900.
Right, so the situation is we've taken the chassis rail off, and obviously Michael's have continued repairs on various bits of the car which are now done. So we've taken the chassis rail off, and we've found that it's actually got a strengthener in it. This piece actually weighs quite a lot, and if you look inside you can see that it's actually double skinned. Now the bit where the front rear trailing arm situation goes through actually has this strengthener in it as well, and you can see just in there. Now what we need to do is, the new section doesn't have said strengthener, but this section does. So what my Uncle Richard's going to do is, because he needs a lot of strength, he's going to start building the strengthener that goes from this section into this top section. And yeah, we've also got this strengthener here as well, which actually goes on the side. So we need to continue that strengthener through there, which my Uncle Richard's going to do, and then me and my Uncle John are going to jump onto this floor section here because there's various holes in there. We need to strip the carpet out, we need to strip the seat out so we don't set fire to the whole entire car, and then we can obviously continue the repairs on the floor before this then gets tacked in. We're not going to tack this in this video because it's going to be tomorrow. They're actually coming now, aren't they? Yeah, so they're coming tomorrow to film this, but we're going to get it all prepared and ready. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom.
Bada boom. Yes, it is. Right. Are we good with that, lads?
Let's crack on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Then it was on to cutting all the rust out that removing the chassis rail had revealed.
Right, so made these panels. I've put like an arrow to face towards the front of the car, so we're not sort of like trying to orientate them and do all that stuff. So that's that. I've labeled them up so we know exactly which one is which. Now this one here, this one's actually, it goes up onto the bulkhead, and this is actually two pieces, so you can see the two pieces there, and this top one is actually joggled. Now a joggle is basically a step in a panel to accept another panel to butt up to it. So instead of being a lap, it is a lap, but it's eventually butt up against it because it kind of comes across and then up. If you can see that, can you see that on camera? It kind of comes across and then up, and yeah, that's a joggle. So I need to put a joggle in number 2, which is this one, and then that can lap onto number 1, which is this one. So obviously that'll lap like that, and this will have a joggle on it, so it'll be, yeah, it'll lap onto that. Real good and real tasty. So my Uncle John's just cleaned the inside of the car because there was loads of sound deadening in there. So that's all done now, so don't set fire to the entire car. And then I'll joggle this, and then it's down to him to weld it in, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
It is though.
Yeah, it is though. Hey.
So then it was on with making the repair panels for the bottom of the car that the chassis had revealed, including the lapped panel that Ryan found, and the chassis section that Richard was making. And once they were done, it was almost time to reattach the chassis rail. A good clean-up, a coat of RC900, a coat of primer, and the chassis rail was ready to be reattached. And with all the parts arriving back from the powder coaters looking absolutely brand new, and the film crew arriving, it gave us all that motivation boost that we needed.
Right, so this is Joe. Joe, how's it going?
Nice to meet you, mate. It's
Yeah,
a bit
nice
of a
to
role
meet you.
reversal, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
About 10 minutes ago I was filming you, and now we've switched around, haven't
Yeah,
we?
no,
So I'm being
around,
filmed.
haven't we? Yeah, so you're the man behind the big camera.
Yes.
And the big lights.
Yes.
And we've got these little tiny phones, and you've got the massive camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's it like being behind the camera instead of behind the camera?
Well, we'll find out, shall we? We'll find out as we go along.
Right, so
Yeah, a little bit different.
Working on the Opel Manta A,
Yep.
what do you reckon so far? I mean, it looks a bit worse for wear, don't you think?
No, but I am actually surprised how good it is.
Yeah.
Because this is actually the first time I've seen this car. So to see what you've done so far, the stage we're at now,
Yeah.
and there's no major problems with it thus far.
thus far?
Actually, thus far, I think you've done a great job. It looks good. We're on the right direction. For us, making a programme, it's always a bit of a balance between money, how far we take it, because we always get told, do we make it concourse? It's going to cost you a lot of money. Or do you do the main things? Cost you a little bit less money, but might be a little bit less desirable for people. So it's always that constant, how far do you take things? And I think from what you've said to us, we're probably on the right balance with this, aren't we?
I think we are, because like you say, you can throw 50, 60,000 pounds at this car, but this car is always going to be worth between, you know, a certain amount. You know, even if you plough 100,000 into it, it doesn't mean it's going to be worth 100,000 at the end of it. But this is a very, very clean example of a Manta A, which is pleasantly surprising, because I mean the Porsche Colin Firth's car, you know, they're absolute rock boxes. Absolute rock boxes. So this is nice. And it's a quick build as well. So I think we've got over that hump of all the dirty work, because we've got all the underseal stripped, which links in the description to the previous episode. So how does this compare to other ones that you've filmed before on the series?
Well, some of them naturally, some of them are like this. You strip it all down and it's a lot more work than what you thought. So for us, the classic was the Land Rover. Took that all apart. Was a lot more work than what we were expecting. Obviously a bit more money than what we were expecting. But we had the right people doing it. Did exactly the right things. Managed to make the money easy, sort of achievable, I guess. And we got an absolutely fantastic motor from that. We are literally delving into the world of restoration. So a lot of it, even though we're getting better at picking the cars, a lot of it is bringing them to people like you guys and sort of taking your advice and your experience and working out what we do with it. And I think that's what we've done with this, do you think?
I mean, to be fair, it could have ended up like the Porsche, where it looked really nice to start with, and then it was just an absolute rock box. But we got lucky with this one.
We did, and that's what we want. I mean, for anyone that's restoring a classic car, the last thing you want to do is buy it. You want to do a bit of budget for it, and then
your budget's blown out.
Your budget's blown under the water as soon as you strip the car down. So the fact that we've not ended up in that position with this is good, isn't it? Just to start.
It really is. So I think we'll stop rambling on, because we've got a lot of work to do.
Got a lot of work to do.
So we're going to get this chassis rail extended. My dad's made the piece. We'll extend that, and then we'll get it on the car, and then continue with the fabrication, and hopefully get the car on its wheels today.
Fingers crossed.
Now, getting the car back on its wheels was a big ask, because there was so much to do. But we were determined to get it into the paint shop so we could start on the next phase of this rebuild. Now, getting this side of the chassis rail lined up correctly actually took us longer than we were expecting. But we needed to make sure we got those mounting points in the correct place. But it slowly started to shape up, with the odd occasional bump in the road. Now, with a bit of bashing, a bit of welding and a bit of grinding, eventually they were in place. Now, as with most pattern panels, you do have to give them a bit of bashing to make them seat where they should.
Right, that's the chassis rail all welded on. Now, we're slightly running out of time today, so my dad's going to continue cleaning all this up, all these welds, get it all nice and primed and protected, and that'll be done. While we're doing that, my Uncle John's on fire watch just up there. You can see his hand. And me and my Uncle Richard are going to jump onto that running gear. So we're going to get the front and rear running gear all assembled, ready to go. And then hopefully by that time, my dad's sorted the chassis rail out and we can get all of this edge primed. Right, so this is the front and rear running gear. We've loosely placed it where it needs to be. We've got all the bolts ready, so hopefully we should be able to just knock it together. What do you reckon, half an hour?
Easy.
Yeah, half an hour, 25 minutes. So we've got the front here, the rear, and yeah, let's just get into it.
Let's get it done.
Let's get it done.
Now, I think half an hour was just a little bit optimistic. These things usually take half a day to do right. And as always, take plenty of pictures for reference when you're rebuilding. We were definitely slowed down by the occasional team meeting for filming. Now eventually, apart from tightening a few bolts, it was all together and ready for the car.
Right, so that's the front and the rear subframe all built. We've not put the springs in because we've misplaced the spring compressors, unfortunately, but we can still get it on the car and get it moving. So we first need to edge prime the car. So my dad's done all the repairs that he needs to do. The chassis rail is all nice and primed now and protected. He's ground all the welds down as well, so that's all sorted. So now we can get some edge primer on the car and get it fully protected for good.
Now this is the nice part. At this point, it feels like you're going forward instead of backwards.
That is the etch primer all done and dusted, and it's so nice getting it all in one colour, and because before it was like black and red and all sorts of colours. Anyway, it's all one colour now, which is good. And now we're going to move on to the Dinitrol 445 and the 4941. Now this is a stone protection which goes in the arches, and this is the underbody protection which is self-healing, self-knitting. So I'll first start with the 445, give it a good shake, get it in all the arches, and then we can get onto the 4941.
And getting the final coat on the underneath of the car definitely feels like a massive step forward.
Right, so we've got the underbody protection on, and it still surprises me how good this stuff is. I mean, I've used this on 5 projects on YouTube already, and literally it still surprises me how brand new it makes the car look. Now, links in the description to Dinitrol, do check them out. We've used the 4941 and the 445. The 445 is the stone chip, 4941 is the underbody self-knitting, self-healing stuff. So links in the description to them. Do give them a follow on Instagram, check out the products because they are very good. The only thing we haven't done is we've not done the cavity wax, which we will do that maybe later in this episode. But for now, we need to get the running gear on, the front and rear running gear, get it down on the ground, then we can roll it into the paint shop.
Now, getting it ready for the paint shop was the target, but this was the first time today that it looked achievable. And with everybody on the job, everything went according to plan and the front and rear subframes just slotted in. And the final result? The underbody looked like it had just come out of the factory.
Major milestone. We've managed to get the front and the rear running gear on. Now, it didn't take too long either. We had a couple of issues trying to line things up and we had to use a couple of tapping sticks, but we've managed to get both of them on. So the only thing left now is to lower it on the ground and push it into the paint shop.
Well, we didn't quite get it in the paint shop, but we did get it on the ground.
Huge milestone, eh?
It's a massive milestone.
Huge
I mean, look what we've done today.
I know, all in a day as well. It's
yeah,
ridiculous,
I could not,
isn't it?
I did not think today that I'd see the car like this.
Yeah.
And you've done it.
I bet when we're saying we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, she was like, nah.
No, it's like everyone in it. You start with a massive list of jobs, and then by the end of the day, you might have done half of them, but we've done them all.
I mean, you always come across issues, but thankfully we've managed to get everything on, and in good time as well, which is good.
And that is a big milestone.
That is a massive
Seeing
milestone.
this car on wheels is a massive milestone.
It really, and you get a sense of satisfaction, you know, when you've been stripping under seal all the time and you get covered just like I am, and then to see it like this, it just, you know, you can go home smiling basically. So you're done for the day? I'm done for the day. We've done a great bit of filming, haven't we? That's all gone well. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, mate. It's been lovely to meet you. And yeah, hopefully you'll come next time with donuts. Yeah, I've been told I need to bring donuts because the other camera guys bring donuts and I don't. So that was awkward this morning, wasn't it? But yeah, honestly, mate, you've done a great job. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been fantastic, and that's one step closer to getting this Manta restored and back on the road, which is a huge milestone. So yeah, fantastic. Right, so continuing from the previous episode, we've actually got these springs in now. It took a couple of hours to get the springs in, but they're in because the springs are like 10 times longer than the space they need to fit in. So yeah, that was a task, but the lads smashed it out of the park. So now, obviously, everything is sorted and we're not dragging it around on a trolley jack, which we were because it was just way too low. Anyway, let's stop digressing, and yeah, we need to start stripping the paint. So I think we're gonna start on the roof because that needs full bare metal, and then we'll work around the car and yeah, probably do it all night because there's not long to do it. It's staring at me thinking, I'm not doing late.
Now thankfully 2 milestones were complete, the rust repair and the underbody. Now it was just cracking on with the bodywork to get it ready for the paint shop. Now, even though this was a very clean vehicle, the whole car still had to be rubbed down and the roof still had to be completely stripped to bare metal.
That look on your face, is that fire that you feel for me? 'Cause your words don't match the feeling.
Now, like most cars of this era that haven't had much paint in the past, the paint was very thin, so very easy to remove. Even though the paint was very easy to remove, there were still a million repairs to do on the bodywork, so even with all men on deck, it still took us good part of 2 days. And there was still all the tedious jobs of bonding and sealing the wings back on.
I know it's always been you.
Now, they say beauty's in the detail. Luckily, we left ourselves enough time to do the details. But as you'll see, there was still a boatload of prep to do before it was ready for paint.
Right, so we have all been going full ham on this car to try and prep it for the paint shop. Now, we've got most of the paint scuffed down, we've got all of the engine bay just about done, there's a couple of repairs to do after we do prime it, but the most important thing for today is to get it primed so it can be drying overnight, so then we can be on it Wednesday, rubbing it all down and getting it ready for paint on Wednesday, tomorrow. So, we've got the wings on, we've beaded the sealant in here as well to make it look nice and OEM. Everything's sorted, we're going to roll it into the paint shop yeah, continue prepping it and hopefully get it in primer today.
Now, luckily, this part isn't as boring as it looks. This is when the car starts turning back into something resembling a car again. But again, with all hands on deck, it made light work of what is a lengthy but enjoyable job. Now, laying the primer down is essential for any bare metal or repairs that have been done to the vehicle. But where the paintwork is good, all it needs is keying in, ready for paint, back on top. Now, 3 layers of primer is usually the norm, but in some heavy areas like the engine bay, we put an extra few coats on just for good luck. Then it was off to the paint shop to get the top coat, that beautiful orange colour that the Opel Manta A is known for. Now, a lot of people are surprised that the colours on cars are made up of a lot of different colours all mixed together. Now at this point, Brian had lost the feed to his mic, but he was just saying how excited he was to get that orange back on the car.
What do you reckon?
It's coming along.
Yeah?
It's coming along very well, isn't it?
It really is,
Yeah, and it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
I'm starting to learn how much work goes into prepping paint.
Yeah, the painting process,
Because I just imagine you just came and sprayed it, and that is totally not the case.
No, it's all in the paint prep work, isn't it?
It looks good, and it's nice to see a little bit of that, because that's going to give us an idea of what it's going to come out like.
Yeah,
isn't it? So,
I mean, that's obviously, there was no rust on that section there, so we can use that as a base, you know, to obviously put our new paint on. But it is a major, major milestone getting the orange stuff on.
it's good. I mean, in terms of progress, seeing a car the colour you're going to have it at the end is a massive milestone.
It really is.
That's brilliant.
Honestly,
it'd be nice to see it back like that.
Yeah, it
you
will.
know, because that's the final sort of hurdle, isn't it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I probably naively presume that you'd just come in, give it a little bit of a key and spray it. But judging by what Steve's been doing this morning, there's a lot more to it in there.
Yeah, there
so
really
my
is,
painting knowledge has gone from 0 to probably 10, and I need to do a little bit more work.
So now, I guess it's down to Steve out there.
To this man.
Yeah, so Steve's in the spotlight now.
I'll put my eyes on so I can see what I'm doing.
There you go, put your glasses on and well, let's get the orange stuff down.
Yeah.
Now there is no better feeling than finally putting the top coat down. After all that work, it's starting to come together. Now the first coat is just a key coat, a grippy coat to help the rest of the layers adhere to the primer. From this point on, it's heavy coats to give it depth and shine, and to make it as good, if not better, than the day it was made. Now at 2 coats, when it's shiny, it's always tempting to just leave it at that and not introduce any kind of imperfections, but that 3rd and 4th coat really does give it depth. What a transformation from that old tired aged paintwork to a brand new fresh lick of paint. Absolutely incredible. The next day it was on to flattening and polishing to get rid of all those little bits of dust in that paintwork. Starting up with 1500 wet and dry paper, then going on to 2000, then 4000, and then on with the buffing compound to bring it up to a glorious shine. Then it was the long-winded but very satisfying job of starting to put the car back together. Now with this being in full paint and half together, this car was starting to be a pleasure to work on. Every single piece we put on the car got closer and closer to the final goal, a beautiful Opel Manta A back on the road. Now there was still a lot to do, so we needed to crack on and get his fingers out. Now cleaning the engine when it's still fully together is an absolute pain. It does take a long time, but luckily for us we have a laser cleaner as well, so even though it did still take quite a long time, it was still much quicker than all of it by hand. And I can confirm it does toast sandwiches. Now the laser cleaner will clean any rust off of metal. If you can see it, you can clean it. But the one thing you do have to be careful of is rubber bushings and plastics. It will burn through them and it will destroy them. Now with heavier rust, what you do have to do is you have to wire brush it off because it leaves a scaly residue on the outside of the metal. You then wire brush that off and you can laser it even cleaner. And while Ryan and Richard were on with the engine, I was cracking on with reassembling the engine bay. This wasn't a full restoration, so old parts were cleaned and put back on, and in some instances, put back on and then cleaned. Now the Zac laser cleaner did save us absolute hours cleaning this engine and the ancillaries that were bolted to it. I'll leave a link in the description below to their website. And as you can see, it does an absolute cracking job. Now as the engine was getting cleaner, I was inside the engine bay making sure everything underneath was protected.
Right, it's the next day, it's even colder today, but the engine is nice and clean. Now, that laser is an absolute beast. If you can see it with your eye, you can laser it, which is really good. So you can't argue with results, right? So now what we need to do is get our smaller engine hoist this up and get to the underside. So we need to clean the belly pan, we need to clean underneath all of this gearbox and everything, make sure everything's nice and clean, and then it's ready for installation into the car.
Now the top was done, we had to clean the bottom. Now these are class 1 lasers, you do have to be careful with them. You also have to wear goggles, because if that laser reflects and gets you in the eye, you're probably blind. Also, you've got to make sure when you're holding something, you don't accidentally laser your finger, because that's never good. Now we were eagerly anticipating the next bit of this car. That was getting the motor back in the shell. But there's always 1,000,001 things to finish before you get there. Now filming for TV was fun, but it definitely got in the way of work. Now the only mechanical thing that really needed doing on this car was replacing the water pump, but luckily in the big pile of parts that were sent with this car there was a brand new one with a gasket. The good thing about these old cars is replacing things like a water pump is very straightforward. A few bolts on the front of the engine and it's done. A few more ancillaries to pop on and we was nearly at that point, getting the engine back in the car. The moment we've all been waiting for, after popping the engine on the cradle, lowering the car down onto the engine and cradle and getting it bolted up. And there it was, done, at last, finally, the engine was back in the car. Right, so major milestone. The engine's in, the gearbox is in, the exhaust is on, the fuel tank's on. So we've still got a whole host of things to order for the bottom of this car, and we want to crack on with the engine bay and get that steering rack on. So we're going to bang it back on the deck and crack on. Even though the engine was back in the car, and it's really nice to see the beating heart of that Opel Manta back where it should be, there was still a million things once again to carry on reattaching to this car, not to mention the steering rack. Now with everybody on the job again, it didn't take us that long at all. Now, like with all these projects, the closer you get to the end of the project, the more excited you become. And we were getting well excited to see what this mantle is going to end up looking like. But no time to slow down or procrastinate. It was time to get this Manta over the line. Now for the finishing touches. Windscreens in, a final flattened polish, cleaning up of the wheels, as they were in very good condition but dirty, and repeatedly running a rag around the car to make sure it doesn't get mucky. And with the bonnet on, all that was left was the fine little details and a quick wash and polish. Finally, back on the ground as a complete car. And that was it. The Opel Manta A was done. What a journey. What a transformation. What a car.
What do you reckon?
It's been it's the end of the journey today.
Yeah, it is. It really
it's actually
is,
quite a big day, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah. It's, I mean, we've got the interior in, we've got all the other little bits and bobs. There's still a little bit of wiring to do. We need to send it for MOT. But, I mean, it's one complete piece, and it's so nice to get the stuff off the shelf and onto the car.
Yeah, and when you see it from the very start, when we brought it to you, to what we've got here, massive transformation, isn't it, really?
Yeah, because you've only visited on certain days, haven't you? Well, we've been here for the full process. So what do you think about the different stages of the build, how you've seen it?
Well, it's here, isn't it? That's what I mean, the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? I think it's great. I think it's great to have a Manta back on the road, which is what we've achieved. Doesn't always happen when we take cars to places. You don't know how it's going to turn out, but I think this has been quite a straightforward process.
It really has, yeah.
So for you, what's been the most challenging bit of it?
The challenging bit of it is this last stage. You know, getting it back together, getting the final pieces on. You know, like we were struggling with with the steering rack, with the just the little bits and bobs really. But it's nice to get it all done. Do you know what I mean? And there's less parts spread around the workshop, and there's more parts in one area on the car where they should be. So it's really nice, and I'll miss it. I'll miss it from the workshop. It brightens up the workshop. As you can see back here, it's all just bland and the same colour, but this really does brighten up the workshop. But yeah, I'll be sad to see you go.
It's great being filming with you.
Yeah.
Filming me, filming you.
Yeah.
But I've had a really good time.
Much.
So thanks, Ryan.
Yeah,
appreciate it, mate.
No
Thank
problem,
you for all your help with this.
So now we've got to get it MOT'd, finish the wiring, and then send it away with you guys.
Next part of its life.
Yes.
Once those little bits were done, it was off for an MOT and back to Bangers and Cash for the final sale, and for the next owner to enjoy this beautiful Opel Manta A.